Welcome, welcome. This is going to be an interesting start to season 2. We're bringing back Island Forward, at least 10 episodes in partnership with Jamaicans.com. I am David Mullings, and I'm looking forward to testing out this new platform. Actually, going to be doing some streaming on Instagram as well. This doesn't output to Instagram, so Instagram is like a behind the scenes of what's going on. But welcome to season 2 of Island Forward. Every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 1 hour show. We're broadcasting via Jamaicans.com. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. Excited to see where this is going. I do have a special guest who should be joining me later today. I want to show you today's topic. We're going into Jamaica's independence. Emancipation Day just passed on August 1st. And the topic is going to be about Jamaica's culture. And our global impact. Some of you have seen my recent video talking about how Jamaica has a special place in the world, and some of us have forgotten that special place. So feel free to send comments, any questions you might want us to discuss, but that is really what I want to cover today, and to help us remember our place. That's how I will put it. Remember our place. I don't want to say who the surprise guest is. I need them to click in and join. I want to open with a video though that I was sent yesterday by Gabriel Heron from Jampro. Those of you on Instagram can't see this, but you can see when I share it later. I think this was an appropriate video to bring in for this show, to bring this back. So this is
Jamaica, home of the resilient, passionate and hardworking. A people and a nation who have achieved and defied all odds, working to keep their economy growing, their country thriving, from investments made in innovative opportunities and exports demanded globally. We have a vision, now within our grasp, where Jamaica becomes the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. We will not let go of this vision. We will grow. We will overcome these challenging times and look to the future with hope and positivity. These are special times. The world as we know it has changed, but home will always be in our hearts. And in Jamaica, you can always find a home. Think you know Jamaica? Look again. You will be surprised.
So that is a new video that Jampro has put out. I'm very impressed by the work that they're doing to try and ensure that in this new COVID reality and the post-COVID world that's coming, they are promoting Jamaica in a positive light. Obviously, the doing business rankings, Jamaica has been doing well. Jamaica is also one of the easiest places to open a business. They're working on other legislation, but you have to give credit where credit is due over the last 10 years and where Jamaica has been going. So I'm excited to see a video like that and get the word out there. I see we got some comments coming in, so let's probably see. I see Judy saying, "Hi, David." Hi, Judy. Thanks for sending a message on Facebook. And then I have Eva Marie. Wonderful program. Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed the original ones. We've got a lot of positive feedback, and I definitely want to step up having far more special guests on here. Whether it's 15-minute segments, 30-minute segments, sometimes a whole show. We're going to be, one, calling in some favors, but two, we're going to be reaching out to all of you in the diaspora to ensure that we get some of your voices heard on here as well, because all of us do care a lot about Jamaica. We care about our adopted homes as well, whether this is other Caribbean islands, Cayman in particular. We have a lot of Jamaicans. We have Jamaicans in Panama, Costa Rica, the US, Canada, the UK, other parts of Europe. But it would be remiss of me to not point out two things. One, obviously prayers to Beirut and what has happened. This is a surprising humanitarian crisis. And so I ask you to keep them in your prayers. We do have Jamaicans in there. We have a number of Jamaicans of Lebanese descent in Jamaica as well, as we know, out of many one people. So prayers for their family members, their friends, and our fellow humans. And then secondly, and of course most importantly, is COVID-19 and what is happening. We are obviously in the midst of a pandemic. You could say it's a second wave in some places. You could say we didn't even overcome the first wave in other countries. I hope that you are staying safe, first of all. I hope that you are healthy. Your family is healthy, your family is safe. If you aren't, of course, though, you're dealing with whether it is mental health issues, you're dealing with the stress of wondering what is happening next, or you have a family member who's unfortunately passed away or is battling right now. We are thinking of you. All of us in some way have been touched by this thing. So please do your best to stay safe. There has to be some level of personal responsibility. We can't just be dependent on government to solve problems like this. We all have to participate in this as well. We each have a role to play. So I've seen anxious to hear what is talking. Yeah, man, Dottie, I know you're anxious. We have to talk about how Jamaica, little about Talawa. We need to talk about our culture and how we punch above our weight. Judy popping in again. It was good watching the friendly competition with Georgia last night. So Judy is referring to something that we did for the Jamaican diaspora southern region. Dr. Alan Cunningham, who is the advisory board member for the Southeast USA, came up with the idea of a state challenge quiz. It's similar to a school's challenge quiz. And so it was Florida versus Georgia last night. We streamed it on the County General's website, actually, on Facebook. And so what happened, very simply, was we have 3 team members from each. We had to have somebody under the age of 30, somebody between 30 and 65, and somebody above 65 for each of the teams. I am the captain of the Florida team. We went into the 3rd round winning by 18 to 16, I think it was, or 16 to 14. But the 3rd round was a 2-point one, 2 points for each question, right? 2 points if you're wrong. No points for passing, and we ended up losing by, I think it's 5 points last night. You can watch it live. I ended up sharing it. It was fun though. It was a lot of fun. General knowledge, almost Jeopardy style. So Jamaican general knowledge plus global general knowledge. And I'm actually pleasantly surprised at the questions I got right and the things I do remember from high school and college. I see Dottie saying, I hate the pandemic. I want my Jamaican vacation. Boy, Dottie, a whole lot of us would like to be in Jamaica right now because our countries, I'm in Florida. So you know we're under pressure. And I know somewhere in particular, August, July, those months are big months for travel. And for people like us, we have vacation. So hopefully you can still get down to Jamaica later this year. Maybe your vacation is just delayed but not cancelled. As always, we're being very careful in the island for bringing in cases, but Jamaica does depend heavily on tourism. Some 55% of Jamaica's foreign exchange actually comes from tourism, over 400,000 direct and indirect jobs. So hopefully you can still find a way to vacation responsibly. I see I have more guests coming in. So here's somebody asking, what's the subject of the live and the intended achievements from same? So I love this question. So the subject for today, I'm going to have it run here. The subject for today is actually Jamaican culture and global impact. And the expected achievements from it is that we want to keep passing on knowledge about Jamaica. We want people to learn about things that are being changed policy-wise and learn more about Jamaica and what's happening down there. So thanks for that comment. I'm going to bring in more special guest. And so now it says, I still need to have that interview for people profile. Yes, Judy. So let me bring in my guy, Mr. Wilson. Steve, you're here.
Yo.
You hear me?
Bro, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I hear you loud and clear. I see you loud and clear. Let me see how I want to get your name up. How does this work? The two of us are here.
It was there.
Yeah, man. Let's see. Does it work this way? Yes. Well, so guys, I have a surprise today. This is Mr. Steve Wilson, aka many things, but he is the manager for Sean Paul. That's one of the things that Steve is actually famous for. Somebody I've known since 2002, Steve.
Yeah.
Man, so I first have to thank you for making the time to come on the show today. This is Catherine is upstairs actually. I told her I have you as my first guest to kick off season 2, and she made sure that I'm going to remember. Her nickname is Stephanie, and we've told you this before. The public doesn't know this. When we got to go on tour with you, when you were Sean's road manager, we went on tour with Real Vibes, and you also got us, passes to go to Mariah Carey. Catherine is a big Mariah Carey fan, and so you guys had us come.
Right.
So she usually packs my bags when I'm traveling. She wants to pack my bags, be part of my life. And so because your name is Steve and TOK's road manager in the past name was Steve, when she said her name is now Stephanie, she's my road manager.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, man. But you also have other things. A lot of people see urchin is in your name. So Mystic Urchin is something you're behind. Brand new machine, tomorrow, today. Give the crowd a little bit, let's tell the viewers a little bit more about the things you do besides managing a global superstar.
I think it's been kind of cool to be in the music industry in the way and entertainment industry the way I have, which is that from before I even finished my last exam at UA, I had already gotten my first job working backstage at Reggae Sunsplash.
Wow.
I kind of I always say that I circuit trained the music business. I kind of went through all different kind of incarnations of working with artist management companies, working with advertising, working in a managed G-Jam studios for a couple of years, working at Tough Gang, working with the Marleys, which was amazing, working with Island Jamaica Records, working with Chris Blackwell, doing all kind of different things. And so it kind of left me with a taste for a lot of stuff. So consequently, I've done Brand New Machine events, which we did for 4 years at Fiction. We took it to London, we took it to Cayman, we took it to Montego Bay, we took it to New York City famously with Max Glazer, where we were the only weekly dancehall event in New York City for 5 years. That's B&M NYC. I have a label called Future Sound of Reggae, where we've done 3 compilations. We did Transdub Massive, we did Roots Underground, of course, Fahrenheit I've been managing forever and ever. And me and him have done a lot of stuff, groundbreaking stuff. He was on the cover of Billboard magazine through the work we've done together. And right now we're just starting, me and Fahrenheit are starting a Thursday night series at Kaya in Kingston called Go. So yeah, a lot of stuff. And and there's probably a lot more that I've left out.
What a resume, man. So I'm going to end up talking about some of the most memorable experiences that we have had with you, as a group. My brother and I, or Catherine and I, visited. But the first one, because they bring up Fahrenheit, 2 memories, and I want you to tell me your opinions. Number one was when he was launching Port Antonio Virgin.
That's right.
In the grill. And what is the name of the drummer? Didn't he try to climb on top of the drums and fell?
Fahrenheit gets these moments where he goes into Jimi Hendrix mode and he climbed on top of the drum set and jumped off, and the drummer didn't survive.
Did not survive, but the vibe was crazy. I've never been to a live event like that anywhere in my life. Like the venue that he chose in the grill to launch Port Antonio Virgin, man, and then Fahrenheit performing live with that band was just unbelievable. So how did you come up with doing these kinds of different energy events?
The thing is I've always been fortunate to travel a lot, and I always say that there's 2 ways to travel, right? You can travel with your eyes open, where you're looking to see what is different about this place and experience what is different about that place. Or you can travel with your eyes closed, where as soon as you land, you're like, where's the familiar thing? Where's the familiar thing to eat? Where I need touchstones immediately. I need things that I can feel at home about. And I'm the opposite. When I land somewhere, I'm like, I don't want to eat nothing I've ever eaten before. I don't want to see anything I've seen before. I don't want to stay at the normal hotel. I want to take that approach of, listen, I may never come back here, so let me drink in all I can, right?
I like that.
And Fahrenheit is a similar way. So what happens is you travel the world like that, then you come back home and you say, wow, there's so many things that Jamaicans haven't gotten a chance to experience that I've gotten to see or I've gotten to experience, and I want to give them a little taste of that. That's really where Brand New Machine kind of came about, and even the name of it was, me and Fahrenheit were like, let's do something brand new, and let's keep it brand new. Every week, let's do something brand new. Let's bring different music. Let's bring different experiences. Let's bring different fashion. And let's just throw it in people's faces. And if people don't like it, we'll say, well, sorry, come back next week and maybe there'll be something that you like. And so when we got to do these kind of events where it was like a one-off event, Fahrenheit launching an album, the first question everybody asked me about that album launch was, it's Port Antonio Virgin. Why aren't you launching it in Port Antonio? Right? Why are you doing it in the grill? And it was like, well, that was part of the twist we wanted to throw at everybody. And I don't even remember, but that event was part of actually the kickoff for Flashpoint Film Festival.
Yes, it was.
So we're working with the Salters very closely on that. And that venue, the Caves, is actually the Sands. So it's the bar beside the Caves Hotel. and it was something that they had just recently set up. And
Yeah,
a lot of people had never been there and didn't know about it. Even still, it's quite an exclusive venue. And we said, well, it would be really cool to launch Fahrenheit's album here as the kickoff event for that, you know. And I have to big up Guerra and Salter, especially, who's no longer with us. And, you know, and she really sort of said, hey, listen, whatever you guys need, like, let's do it, you know. And we kind of got to go ahead to kind of do whatever we wanted. And it's so seldom that you kind of get that kind of creative freedom in Jamaica, because most of the time in Jamaica is very much like, well, make sure you don't offend anybody, and I don't want you to do this, and I don't want you to do that, and you can't come off the stage, and you can't, you know, you can't do this, and you can't do that, and all these kind of can'ts. You know, we're a country, when it comes culturally, a lot of the time we're can'ts, right? A lot of the things that Jamaicans do for the first time, we do it abroad. Right. Even Bob Marley, you know, did things abroad, and then it wasn't accepted here until much later on. I mean, you even can touch on the fact that this whole debate going on about Rastafarian and locks.
Literally, we have the coverage. So the coverage there, sister.
Yo, I just literally said, right?
Yeah, that's why I have to bring it up, because, and that's why we have to talk about how impactful our culture is, because.
Yeah, but this is the thing, right? It's important for us to push the envelope in Jamaica so that Jamaicans get used to the envelope being pushed, right? We have this comfort zone, you know, not even, I shouldn't say technocracy. It's really, it's the churches pushing this agenda of post-colonial what's accepted, right? So it's interesting that it's a dichotomy of this, right? Our culture goes into the world and conquers the world, and we do all these amazing things, and everybody's so impressed and impacted and just blown away by what we do. Bob Marley is artist of the century, and album is album of the millennium, and all these things, right? But yet still in Jamaica, tell me where tonight I can go and see a reggae band. Nowhere. Tell me why. I don't understand why, right? We don't invest in our own culture. We don't respect our own culture. We don't prop it up. We don't pick it up. We want to feel like we live in foreign. We want to go to foreign. We want to spend our money in foreign. You know, all these things I just have a massive problem with. And it is something that I complain about constantly. And when you go places like somewhere like Cuba, where people say, oh, culture has been crushed in Cuba, and you go to Cuba, and every single night you can watch 4, 5, 6 different professional bands performing Cuban music, and it's sponsored by the government, right? And I'm not saying that it should be completely sponsored by the government. I think that the private should also have to, you know, have to support it. But I think the government should make a mandate that says, hey, a certain amount of money goes to this every year, and it goes to live music. So we're going to pick 5 venues that are going to be official live music venues, and those places must have live music at least twice a week.
I like that idea. We have to recommend that one.
And it's supported, right? And then if we even have to look at making money off of entertainment, right? Like rum or cigarettes, people like that who can't really advertise, right, on most normal media should be taxed. There should be an entertainment tax that they have to pay to give back to live music. All it's going to do is put more money in their pocket anyway, right?
So why not? Literally just explain. Here's an idea, and here's how you pay for it. Which most people have ideas, but they don't have a way to pay for it. You know,
I've been around it long enough to know that the reality is, if somebody don't pay for it, it don't happen.
It don't happen. So that is saying, I love this guest. Smart and realistic. I don't know how often anybody said that about you, Steve. I love it. Smart and realistic. But here I have to big up my friend Jackie Garrett, all the way from Australia, which means
Jackie, big up.
Tuning in, man. Big up Jackie for tuning in. You know, I want some people to just comment where they're watching from, where you're checking in. We have 17 people watching live right now from a bunch of places. We're going to end up having a lot more watching on Jamaicans.com. But no, Steve, so you're touching on exactly a topic you and I have discussed privately. You discuss all the time. I am convinced that Jamaica's #1 export should be our culture.
Well, Jamaica's #1 export is our culture, but we don't make the money off of it. Right? Because that's my #2 complaint now. That we don't have a record company that exists in Jamaica, right? A major record company. All the distributors, even the distributors who operate here, are not Jamaican. Even VP is based in New York. So that means the money that VP makes off of all this Jamaican music, does it come to Jamaica? How much of it comes to Jamaica? Does any of it? I don't know. Right? I can't say for sure, but I don't think so. And most of if most artists want to get signed, they want to get signed by a foreign label because that's where the money is. They're going to invest money in them. They're going to shoot good videos. Now we have good videographers. We have amazing video producers. We have great photographers. We have great recording technicians. We have engineers. We have musicians. We have all the machinery except for the platform to bring it to the world. Until 2 months ago, you know this. Until 2 months ago, we didn't have Apple Music in Jamaica. We still don't have Spotify.
Still don't have Spotify.
We can't even digest our own music in a way that's meaningful and will put money in artists' pockets. I always compare us to reggaeton and say, here's a music that comes from our music.
Our music, right? Our tongue.
But yet still, here's the difference. Latin people support reggaeton. When a reggaeton artist put out a song, the Latin people make that person a millionaire. They don't need one person listening in English.
Man, and I love that you talk about reggaeton because I was going to bring that up. Because of our experience with you and Sean and everybody, we got to work on Mundus's show, The Roof. Every Friday night was their Reggae Fridays in Miami. And so we go there and we get to see Tego Calderon, Evie Queen, and we got to watch these people explode on our music. We got to show them all the latest dances and help bring a DJ like DJ GQ or artists to be on there. But how do we ensure that we now have that platform, we have that label? We're obviously doing things virtually, so we don't have to have a production studio based in Miami to get stuff. We could be doing live shows based in Jamaica that going out to the world via Facebook or YouTube. Some festivals just use Facebook to do their show. Look at Versus on what they're doing. What is needed for us to execute that in Jamaica?
What is needed is for us to invest in it and for us to show the support for it, right? So to me, right, whereas 3 million people in Jamaica, everybody have a phone or two. Some have 2 phones, right? You tell me why is it we can't get 1 million Jamaicans watching something produced in Jamaica, made in Jamaica for Jamaicans? Why? I don't know why. Every day I get a digital message on my phone saying, hey, digital wants it to do this or wants it to do that or wants it to do the other. But it's hardly ever something that I actually want to do.
Right.
And it's never something that's culturally relevant, right? And it's always trying to get me to buy something or the other thing, right? But why not use that platform to say, hey, digital, you have to send out 5 government things a week that are going to promote live music, whether online or in an actual place, or a release that we have said that is something that we're proud of. Why isn't there a Jamaica top 5 every week that the Jamaican government comes out and says, yo, these are 5 songs produced in Jamaica this week that we think are dope and the world should listen to? Why isn't JTB doing that? Why doesn't JTB promote music? I know recently they've been started making some inroads into that. And kudos to them.
Uses our music
late, very late, and it's not enough. Like that should be the thing that we market. It should be. We say we live in a gold mine, yet still we mine none of the gold. Well, we let people come here and mine it, and the people who here are mining it have to sell it.
So Steve, you remind me of the resource curse. When I think of somewhere like Nigeria that has oil, because they have so much oil or diamonds in other countries, right? Somebody else came in there and made the actual money from it. Because when you have a lot of something, you don't value it.
Partially true. Nigeria does make millions and billions of dollars off of their own oil. It doesn't trickle down to the lower classes. That's a big problem. But there are a lot of Nigerians who are billionaires off of Nigerian oil. They're not. There's not very many Jamaicans who are billionaires off of Jamaican music.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to understand. Somebody on Instagram saying at the moment reggae is bigger and more supported in Europe than Jamaica. And you know that.
And before that it was Japan. And right now you have the whole West Coast reggae movement. California reggae now is more popular than Jamaican reggae. And guess who supports it? California people. This is my point. We don't support our own thing and then want to cry about why it's not doing this and why it's not doing that.
So how do we change that? Besides your government suggestion and the live events, those are 2. Do we need to actually have a local label that has capital invested in it, working with the artists, working on the live production?
It would be great, but it's going to require some kind of grant money, because I don't even know if the Jamaican government has enough money to do something like that, but it would be beautiful. I do a lot of work with Alpha Boys School, Alpha Boys Radio, right? Music March for Music Entertainment, which is a charity that I give money to, which is really to push music in schools. That's my first thing, right? We don't respect music because we don't learn real music. We're learning recorder and sheet music, and those things can't get nobody a job ever, right? And those things don't make people, even people like me, I thought I wasn't interested in music because that was my music education, right?
Wow.
Music education should teach you about Bob Marley and teach you about record labels and teach you about choreography and teach you about engineering and teach you about how many jobs there are in the music business that are created by the music business, right? And then push you into modules. And then there should be several schools and school programs that allow you to then immediately go into that kind of a program. The kids who go to Alpha are people who have been kicked out of other schools, refused by other schools, right? And it is unfortunate that a kid can feel useless and pointless and like he doesn't have a place in the world until he happens to bungle up and bounce into Alpha and then goes, oh, this is my calling all along.
All along, man.
But
So we
I
need
didn't
to
know where Bob Marley is from. Why wasn't that recognized from when I was 5 years old?
No, man, I agree, man. So David, you had to say,
so I think there's education, right? There's government investment. There's serious, look, anything you want to mine in any country in the world, right? What do? You get the equipment to mine it. You get the people to train you. We can draw for foreigners, I don't mind. Let's get foreigners here to say, hey, we need you to come give us some time and we need you to give us some resources and we need you to help us build this school, and build a studio. We have studios, I have lots of studios, so that's not a problem. But to build a platform to get our music to the world, right? I don't know if you noticed, Sirius XM just is in the process of changing the joint radio station, which is the reggae radio station, to Bob Marley radio, right?
Wow.
Which I don't know if I'm talking out of turn, but if I am, I'm sorry. But the reality is that we should have our own in Jamaica based online reggae radio stations, right? And channels and playlists on Spotify and YouTube and everywhere. Like there's just, and it's not that we don't have the brains. We have the brains. People like you who know about these things and know how to do these things. Government should be hiring you and saying, David, help us figure this out. How do we mine this goal that we have? Right? I'm willing to give my time. I'm willing to give my time and what I know and what I think, and them can mine me, right?
Yeah, well.
So, I feel like that's the one thing. But then I think that also there has to be a re-education of the people and the way how we digest music. Here's an interesting thing to me, right? Here's my top. Every time I meet Jamaicans anywhere else in the world, those Jamaicans are the biggest fans of everything out of Jamaica, right? They are the consumers of Jamaican things. The diaspora keeps this country alive, right? Culturally and economically, right?
True.
Now, I've heard people say things like, "Boy, they will go to in Vegas or Miami or wherever, right, and spend a whole bunch of money on a night out." But in Jamaica, I'm not spending that kind of money, right? Why? Just because we look at things as well, it's foreign, so it's more worth my time and more worth my money.
Yeah, man. Right? No, it's true. I agree with you on all of those things, man. I think you hit the nail on the head. Personally, I don't want the government to hire me. I'd rather just partner with you and some of our network to go and try and execute as much of what you just laid out. And if we get public sector support, great, but
I feel that public sector needs to be involved because, like I said, it's just like mining. It is literally it is a resource that we have, and it can't be something that is supported by this government that's in, and when the next government comes in, they don't care about the program because they never them created, etc., etc. So therefore, it needs to be institutionalized. It needs to be something that no matter what, no matter who's in power, this is something that cannot be changed. I feel like it should be in the Constitution. I had a friend from a guy who we did some shows in Europe, deep Europe, right? Eastern Europe, and he was so excited about coming to Jamaica for a week.
Oh, Steve glitching a little bit. So let's see when he gets back in, guys. I want to hear what he's saying about this European one. But Steve is live from Jamaica, so. Let's see what I'm saying. I'm saying, we're talking truth, but how we change that. So, Dale, how we change that is what Steve is saying to us. We need to make sure that we change the approach that people are taking when it comes to our music, our culture, right? He wants the government to play a role, and then the private sector needs to play a role as well. We need to make sure that people are learning our music, not just record and sheet music when they go into school. So, waiting for Steve to reconnect. I said that is saying that there should be a free bus transportation for kids to go learn good music. Some single parents can't afford to take them. It will keep them off the street and give them a goal for the future. That's a very interesting suggestion, Dottie. Big up Philip Clayton for that one. I do like what Dottie is saying, because Alpha Music, I've seen what they've been doing at Alpha Boys School. That's where Dean Fraser came from. And that's impressive what has come out of that. So Steve coming back here now. So let me bring back in Steve. Steve, we have you back, man. We paused as you talk about deep rural.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was saying that this guy was coming from deep Europe, like Eastern Europe, and we've done a couple of shows with him, and he said, I said, what's the one thing you want to do out of here? And he said, I need to go to Yush. So I was like, oh, wicked. All right. I was going anyway, so I'll carry you. So I carried him to Yush, but I went to pick him up at his hotel, and I said, how was your trip? How has it been so far? How was everything, landing and everything? And he said, oh, it was wonderful. But he was confused when he landed because he didn't know where he was. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I thought I was landing in Kingston, Jamaica. And I said, yeah, you are. And he said, but that's where Bob Marley was born, right? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, I didn't see the Bob Marley statue when I landed. He said, I thought it would be out on the end of the, the end of the airport, the harbor, like this big, massive statue that everybody could see from the moon. Like he was like, any other country in the world that Bob Marley came from, there would be, the whole Palisade strip would be lined with statues of Dennis Brown and Jimmy Cliff and Bob Marley and, Hugh Roy and and everybody would be lining that highway coming in. And he said, why don't you celebrate your culture here? And I didn't know the answer.
That's a really good question, and I don't even know how to answer it. I see Michelle asking a question. How about censorship of music? Some lyrics aren't worth listening to. How do you respond to those questions that we get culturally in Jamaica?
Well, my response to any kind of censorship is really that. I mean, it has to be, you have to let everybody say what they want to say, and then you choose. The listenership is the people that have to kind of censor music to me. If it's rubbish, then don't listen to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was actually saying to a friend of mine today, on YouTube, there's that downvote button.
Yeah.
Right? You can say, I don't like this. And I feel like more music platforms should have that. Just say, hey, you can go on and, like when you go on Netflix, you can say, rate this title. I don't like this movie. I don't think nobody should watch that movie. That's censorship. And then the other form of censorship is parenting, right? Like I have 3 kids. You know what I mean? I let them listen to certain things. There's certain things you can't stop them from listening to. I try to control what they listen to some extent. And when they hear something that they don't understand or that they don't like, they come to me and they say, hey, Dad, I heard this thing. And what does this mean? And I explain to them in as mature language as I can and say, hey, this is how it is. And, this is how some people speak. And you can choose when you grow up if you want to speak that way or not. But right now, you can't.
Yeah, man. So Michelle bring up something that I like that she said Jamaican music isn't just reggae, by the way. She asking what came before Bob Marley. And so we had Rocksteady.
We had Rocksteady.
Right, we had Rocksteady, we had Ska.
Right, so we had Mento.
We have Mento, we have Dub, and then obviously we have dancehall.
Well, to me, to be honest with you, all those music forms are forms of reggae. That's how I look at it, right? And so, musicologists might disagree with me or whatever and say these are different music formats. But to me, the fact that they don't coexist at the same time means that they're not different music formats. That's how I look at it. Because Mento gave rise to ska, which gave rise to rocksteady, which gave rise to reggae, which gave rise to dancehall. But to me, they're all sub-genres maybe they're not reggae, all of them, but they're certainly Jamaican music. I don't know anybody who's making Mento music now, maybe 1 or 2 people. But original Mento.
Boys for a little bit, we're doing something.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, they're Mento bands, but are they making original music and putting out original albums of Mento?
I think that is an art form that is great. So somebody else here on Instagram saying, interesting, yet Jamaicans big up their country much when outside of it, which is so true. When you're outside of Jamaica or somebody who is of Jamaican descent, even just them great-grandmother is Jamaican, we jump on it and say, yeah, man, they're Jamaican. Why we stay so? Why we seem to be such...
Well, why not?
Outside of the country, but inside is a problem.
What you're saying. Well, what happens is as soon as you leave Jamaica, right, then you realize that your identity is very small in comparison to the people who you leave Jamaica, which is 3 million people, and you land in Miami. America is 300 million people, right? Everybody looking at you and just thinking you're a Black American, and you're like, but no, my culture bigger than that, right? And all of a sudden you get bossy and you get swaggy. And you want to be more Jamaican, and you want to grow locks, and you want to wear red, green, and gold every day, and all them something there. It happens all the time. I know a lot of people go away to college and come back, and when they come back from college, all of a sudden they're a Rasta. You know what I mean? And I understand it. I get it, of course, because you start to realize, wow, it gives you a real sense of how valuable your own culture is.
That is.
How cool is it that you're from Jamaica? That is damn cool.
100% agree. So I lived in Berlin 2 years ago for 3 months, and I never forgot when I got there. I made sure to wear my Jamaica jersey. And anywhere I would go, people would immediately ask me, "Are you from Jamaica?" And I'd say yes. And they would ask me about Bob Marley, Usain Bolt, Jamaican ganja, Sean Paul. I mean, it was fascinating to me how differently I was treated in Berlin. Everywhere we go, I remember Protege was performing live there, and posters everywhere, and all these Germans asking me, "So you going to the Protege concert at the club?" I was like, yeah, I intend to go, but I never got that experience in so many other places. And I mean, you know me, I have 1 foot in Jamaica, 1 foot in the US. So I'm not one of those who run with left. I was in Jamaica every month for the last 18 months until COVID happened. So, but it's fascinating to me to see people who literally run with left. As soon as Olympics come around or Sean Paul get nominated for a Grammy or any of these things, yeah man, it's our people that, it's our people that.
Exactly.
So, but I see Philip saying the average Jamaican or person in most places cannot afford a ticket to a reggae show in the UK. Is that in demand up there?
Yeah, that's true.
And we have people flying down to Jamaica. So you've had Tomorrow Today, which obviously never happened this year in the way it would normally happen. You're involved in that, correct? So I assume you're doing it next year as a plan. People flying down, people come to Jamaica early May.
Tomorrow Today is actually the brainchild of Andrew Mystery and Kevin Burke. I came in as a very small local partner when they were looking for help with some music programming and promotion, of which I am very proud to be involved. They did it for 2 years, and then this year we actually did it. It was done all online. Everything happened. I was on a panel online. The music was online. The yoga classes were online. Pretty incredible thing, and growing, and it's been continuing. They keep doing events online. They keep on, doing it. If you're interested, go to tomorrowtoday.com, check it out, register, and then anybody who paid for this year would automatically get free tickets next year. And hopefully we're back on the beach in the grill next year.
And it's early May. You guys usually do.
Yeah. May, April, depending on how.
So we have a question from Khalib Thompson.
Hey Khalib, what's up?
Khalib, big up Khalib. She said, Steve, she used to collect hotel key cards when she would tour. She used to tour with Beanie Man and so on. What did you collect when you were on the road? Well, you're still on the road. So what do you collect, Steve? I've never actually seen.
I'm looking for one right now to show you.
Okay. I remember when we were in. You had us. I have to tell this story, Steve. So I never forgot. We were in 2 times. We were in Vegas. Catherine and I were in Vegas, and you guys were in Vegas shooting the "Got to Love You" video. And you messaged me and say, "Hey, you need to come to the bank. We'll get you 2 tickets, and you're gonna roll through and be in the VIP." What is this? There's a hotel keys. You really collect them too, Khalib? What a question.
This is just one stack of about. I mean, I can't tell you how many, right? I collect those, and then I got bored of collecting hotel room keys, and I started collecting "Do Not Disturb" signs, that interesting ones that you find on doors. And I actually want to do a book about it. I want to do a book with all the different ones, and then give little stories about each place.
No, man,
that's very interesting that you brought that up.
No, man,
the only people that tour would know that kind of stuff,
So I don't know if I ever told you this one. I have to say it on camera. So when you invited me to the bank, you put Catherine and I on the guest list under Sean's name, but she couldn't come. We had Luke. So she stayed in the hotel room with him. I came to the Bellagio. Come upstairs now, go in this VIP line, and there's an older white guy behind me with 3 ladies on his arms, and I'm in front. And the security looked at me and said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm David Mullings. I'm on Sean's list." And they're like, "Sean who?" I was like, "I'm on Sean Paul's list." It's me. And then look and they say, "Oh, yes, it's you +1. Who's your +1? And the older white guy immediately dropped the ladies and step up and say, "I'm his +1. And the bouncer look at me and say, "Is he really with you?" And I look at the guy and I say, yes, he's with me. And he just looked to the girls and just waved goodbye to them, and they walked right into the club, man.
Oh my God.
It was wild. I remember then you had us come, you shooting the video, and they sent me downstairs to help get the crowd to go and do the moves that he needed with these light up stuff, man. So that was undercover music.
Got to love the video.
Got to love the video, man. So that one was one memory. And then obviously we have the paintball. When we played paintball in Tampa, I was planning to leave. You had us again. You got Catherine and I to come backstage from Mariah Carey's concert, which she pretty much cried when she saw Mariah's dressing room. And then he said, "Don't leave, man, don't leave. We need to come find somewhere for us to play paintball morning." And we shoot where Catherine shot Fahrenheit in his head. and burst him head. So, and I see pictures of you, Zigzag, everybody dressed up full paintball gear. Still the most fun I've had. I have to thank you for that one.
Well, that's actually a lot of funny tour stories that every couple months or years you get obsessed with something that you do when you're on tour. And at that time, paintball was the thing. So every city we got to, if Sean would be like, yo, we have time to play paintball tomorrow, and I'd be like, well, let me figure it out, let me find a place. And I mean, I remember one time we were on the tour bus and we took a detour and ended up in some random place, I don't even know where, in Florida. I ended up playing paintball on something that looked like something out of the zombie apocalypse. Crazy.
I love it.
That was our obsession for a while.
I love it. All right, so the last crazy story I had, so I'm going to give a crazy story and then two other tearful stories in a way, memorable stories of me. I need to big up Jerome Hamilton and Carla Dillian for even just connecting us in the first place.
Yeah, man, big up Headline Entertainment.
My Headline Entertainment has been amazing to Real Vibe. So we were in San Francisco. Catherine and I were in San Francisco. I went to a VC conference, connected with a guy, Shane Way, that was doing this app called Melt. It was like Twitter, but for voice. And I pick up the phone and I call him. I'm at this table with the guy and his lawyer, and I start boast about, I get it. Oh, artists could post clips and get feedback on their songs. And I was like, oh, I could probably get you a deal with Sean Paul. And he's like, oh, really? And I said, yeah, I know his manager. And he's like, call him right now. I was like, right, so I'll call you. And he answered within 2 rings, Steve, which to this day shocks me that you do that. But I called you, and you answer the phone and you say, David, I'm in the airport right now in Kingston. We're flying to LA. Where are you? I was like, in San Francisco. And he's like, yo, I'm going to send you to the hotel. You need to drive. You need to come down and see us in LA. We're going to be on the Arsenio Hall show. And then all of a sudden, you got us passes to come to the Arsenio Hall show with you and Sean. We get to go backstage. We're in studio. I've never, Conscience was there performing as well.
That's right.
I couldn't believe you did that. And to this day, Shane couldn't believe that we did that. You take us out for drinks. We spent like 2 hours chatting business, man. So,
you know what? I think it just reminded me of something. I need to really say this. Is that you remind me of somebody who is just on their blessed path, right? And I always say this to people: if you want to know if you're on your right path or not, you need to just look at what are the signs the universe is sending you, right? Are you constantly being in the right place at the right time? Are things opening up for you, or are you getting roadblocked every which way you turn? If you're getting roadblocked every which way you turn, probably you're not doing the right thing. Probably need to make some adjustments in your life, whether it's your job, where you live in, something. Right? And you have just, because those stories that you've told are always been stories where you just happen to call me when I'm at a place where I can answer the phone. You call me when I'm in a place where my guest list wasn't full. Because for every story you tell, there's 1,000 people who will be like, oh, that guy, that so and XYZ bad word, that when I try to link him, ignore me until 3 days after and answer me and tell me, oh yeah, I was in Berlin when you linked me, but I couldn't answer you, whatever. It's a lot of the time it's timing. A lot of the time is somebody just dropped off the list, and some of the time is like with the Arsenio thing, we weren't sure we could carry any guests, right?
Right.
And when you happened to link me was the time right when we found out, yes, you can bring 2 more people. And I said, oh, well, David just linked me. So come in, David.
Oh, man. I was so funny. So we stayed at the hotel across the street from you guys, from your hotel. And that's where they were doing like the premiere for season 2 of House of Cards. So I got to see Spacey and these people in person. I was like, what the hell is this? So I don't realize respect for that, Steve. And then
right place, right time. I always tell people, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
The luckier you get. I love saying that. We're going to clip that one and we're going to run that video everywhere. So the other 2, one is going to be about Sean and the team and why I rate you guys so much. And then the last one, which let me do that one first. So as you know, Steve, I was in hospital last year and I ended up calling, right? February, I get rushed into hospital with the surgery. 30% chance of not waking up. 2 weeks in bed, 2 weeks at home, 6 weeks in bed. And I called you during that time. I think it was early March that I just picked up the phone and called you. Something just told me to I was actually feeling down that day, Steve. And I was like, man, I'm tired of calling on certain friends already. Let me call Steve. Yes. I don't hear his voice in a while.
Okay.
So, yeah, man. So I was like,
Angel is at the house. 1 second. Yes, okay.
Yeah,
so let me know what I need to do.
I love it. So I go my life. So I was like, you know what? Something just tell me to call you. Don't even text you. Don't send a WhatsApp. Just call. So I pick up the phone and call. And he answer again in 2 rings, Steve. And it dawned on me at that point. I say again, I say, Steve, it shocked me that you, to this day, I don't care if I know you since 2002, you still answer the phone so quick. And you said something to me. I've never said it to you in person. I've said it on a podcast that's not out yet. And you said to me, Steve, you said, but bro, when you call is literally the future calling. What's good, bro? I had to call my father right after we finished speaking, Steve. And I said that to Dad, and Dad was just like, wow, David, how many people do you know in the world who think that way of you but would never say that? You need to use that energy to remember, now you need to make sure you get better. At 12 months, 18 months of rehab I had. Like, you need to make sure you get better and deliver more of that, because people like Steve exist, but they're not going to say it. You have to cherish that. So I want to say thank you, boss. Like that. To this day, that will bring tears to my eyes. It make that much of a difference.
And I want to tell you something else too. As I'm a guy that I hate talking on the phone. I'm a text person. I always tell people, listen, if before you call me, think to yourself, is this textable? Right? and there are a lot of reasons for that, right? Because the other reason is that in this WhatsApp day and age, right, when somebody tell you something, and then you want to argue about later who said what or what was said or what exactly was said, I can just refer back and screenshot and say, this is what you said, and this is what I said. Right? Whereas on a phone call, my tone was wrong. I said something and you thought I said something else. I don't remember what you said. I don't remember what I promised you. Whatever. You know what I mean? And a lot of time when people, there are those people who actually have a notation in my phone besides certain numbers that says, do not answer. Because when this person calls me, I know this person is going to take 20 minutes to get to their point, and it's going to be something that doesn't serve me, but only serves them. And to your credit, when you do call me, it's usually, hey, really quickly, Steve, here's what's going on. Here's what I need. Can you do it? And I'll say to you, yes, no, call me back tomorrow. And you'll say, all right, cool, and that's it. And I appreciate people understand the importance of brevity.
Brevity, I love it, man. Be efficient. We can't bother with this CP Caribbean people time thing, man. Time is money. Treat time with respect.
Yeah.
So, all right, the last story I have to bring up, because I tell this one every single time. Whenever anybody asks me about our Real Vibes days and which artist I look up to the most and why, and I bring up Sean Paul every time. And this was when you guys were doing like the Sun Fest in West Palm Beach.
All right.
Catherine was there. I remember all these things, man. Sean was headlining that day. And I never forgot, it's the first time I ever see Sean Paul play a guitar. And you had us on stage recording that whole video to go and post. When the event was done, I was backstage in the section, and a mother came over to me. I was by the guardrail, and she came over and asked if I'm with Sean Paul's tour team. I was like, well, not exactly, but we're here with them. And she's like, oh, she has a favor to ask. She has a daughter, and the daughter loves Sean, 15-year-old girl, and she just wanted to get something autographed, like a towel. So she gave me the towel, and I came over to you, Steve, and I said, hey, Steve, this mother have like a 15-year-old daughter that wants to just get an autograph from Sean. She love him, whatever. And he said, let me see her. And you and Sean turn, and we see the mother, and I didn't even realize the girl is 15, and she has cerebral palsy. So she's in one of those wheelchairs that is clearly for cerebral palsy. And you guys say, come, let's go over to her. And you walk over, the security guard, open the guardrail, walk over to this lady and hug and kiss the girl. I mean, Sean was there, the mother, all of us crying. Like, I was crying, Robert was crying, the mother was crying, the girl was crying.
I do remember that.
And when we leave, I had to go back to them, and I was just like, Sean, I don't understand why you would do that. That's surprising. I did not expect that. And he said, David, I am fortunate enough to be able to make somebody's life different. Just, they look up to me, and all I had to do was take a little bit of time out of my day to just give this person time. We don't know if she's going to be here tomorrow, but she's going to remember this for the rest of her life. And all I had to do was just go and say hello and hug her. I've never forgot that you guys did that for her, man. Never.
I mean, here's the thing, right? Celebrity is a powerful thing, right? And a lot of the time, and I have to say this to the public, a lot of the time, public, like, people think, oh, you belong to me. You're not a person. You don't eat. You don't get tired. You don't get miserable a day. You must always be a good man. Always have time for me, right? And the truth is, that's just not reality, right? A lot of the time you don't, and you don't feel like, and I always draw the line at certain things, like when Sean is eating, I don't let people approach him and stuff like that, right? But especially when you're at a show, you've just done a show for these people. They paid money to see you, right? That's why they're there, right? And if you can do that 1 second, change your life thing. And now I think that Sean remembers, and I remember, having those moments with celebrities that we rated,
Wow.
you know, who actually took that 1 second just to turn around and even just thump your fist. And I want to big up Usain Bolt at this point, because talking about tears in the eyes, I remember watching this thing that he did, right? Where he was starting his races, and every race he starts, he thumps the face of the guy. Here's my smile because someone coming to say hi.
Yeah, man.
Right? And every race he would, and even when you could tell that the person who was there, the starting person was there, expecting him to do it, and you could see on their face that they thought he had forgotten. And right when they were about to give up, he just turned around and gave them that thumb fist, right?
Yeah.
And I said to myself, in all of the great things that he has done, that's the greatest.
You know, I'm going to pull it up.
Because there's no reason for him to have done it. There's no reason that he has to do it. He doesn't have to do it. Everybody expects him to be at a high level of concentration. And here he is taking that 1 second of his time to change this person's life, you know. Because that's what you're doing. Yes, son.
No, it's true. I love that. So you know what? Since I can do this, I'll pull up the video on YouTube and I'm going to show that clip really quickly of you seeing.
Put it up.
Let me. Well, I think I found it. No, this person tricked me. They said 10 acts of kindness caught on camera. I need to find the Bolt one.
Yeah, it's a hugely powerful thing, and I give him massive props for it. And it's something that Sean always is memorable of and tries to do as well, you know.
No, man, and I appreciate that. So you say you have 3 kids. I have 3 kids as well. How have you raised your children to think that way and act that way as well? How has that been?
Like, I mean, parenting is every day. Like, I mean, the thing that amazes me about it is you can do a great job being a father today, and then tomorrow you do one thing wrong and you've screwed your whole job up, right? There's no other job in the world that's like that. Every other job in the world, people be like, oh, you had a bad day. All right, cool. Tomorrow come back and be good again.
That is such a deep
parenting, like,
point.
you have every single day, right? It's consistency. You can't parent one day a week. Right? You can't call in sick. I can't tell my kid in the morning, hey, what's up, man? I'm sick today. I'm not being dad today. Right? So
you cannot call him.
It gets me. I mean, even right now, he's knocking at the door. He wants to come and tell me something about something that's more important to him than anything I could possibly be doing in my life. You know? And I got to stop and say, okay, yeah, what you're doing is important, but you got to give me a second here, Dad, kid.
Oh, man. All right. So I find one of the videos. Let me try and pull this up now. I'm going to just play it quick because you raised such a good point about that one, man. So let me pull this in. Here, see it here. So this is Bolt and one of the kids. This is one. I know he's done it a few times. This man excited them and he want to get interviewed because of it, right?
Yeah, he's beyond. His mind has been blown, right? And to me, like, that is the work that does culturally for Jamaica, number one, and even for us as people of color, right? Because that's a white kid, and a lot of time it's white kids or Indian kids or Asian kids or whatever, and it's just whatever racism existed in that family is gone.
Gone. After
that, because they're just like, that brother just did something he never had to do that changed our whole life.
Yep. No, man, I love
them things. That's God's work, bro. Something is God's work.
Man, I love how you put that. So, all right, so we have 7 minutes left. What are some specific stuff that you want to leave people with, thinking whether it's about Jamaican culture or more life advice? You gave us some wicked nuggets, man.
I'm actually starting a podcast soon, which I think we need your help with. So that's kind of like what it's going to be at some of talking about a lot of that kind of thing, life advice and my life experience. It's kind of like a mixed bag of, you know, funny stuff, serious stuff, emotional stuff, you know, stories about music, everything like that. I want to interview people, and so I'm sharing my knowledge. That's really, that to me is that's legacy, right? And that's what life is supposed to be about. Is once you've kind of gotten to that point where you kind of stable and you kind of all right, then it's about helping those behind you, right, and looking out for those in front of you. So that's kind of my part in gift. One of my favorite quotes and one I say all the time is, God gave us bricks, but what are we building?
Yeah, man. All right. I love that. We're gonna have to click that one and share that as well. God gave us bricks, but what are we building? And yeah. I love that it said that once you reach a certain point in life, you should basically send the elevator back down and help someone else. Don't pull up the ladder behind you.
When I read things like, oh, Jeff Bezos made how much money today and how much more billions he's worth, and I'm like, okay, that's great. You know what? That don't impress me no more.
Right.
After you made your first billion, I'm done being impressed with you. What are you doing with your money now?
Yep.
Impress me with that. I don't have billions of dollars. If I had billions of dollars, I'd be doing a lot of shit. Excuse my language, to change a lot of people's lives. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. I don't know.
We don't know.
My point is, and there are a lot of people in Jamaica, bro. Every time I drive around Jamaica and I see somebody in a Porsche or somebody in a top of the line Benz, and I know how much money those cars cost to import into this country, I say you could be driving a really, really, really nice Toyota, right? And you could have used the rest of that money to change a family's life forever. But you chose not to. You chose that you wanted to drive this nice car. Okay, cool. So go and take that equivalent amount of nice car money and go and do something now to change somebody's life.
Double it up. Have a nice car, but make sure you're giving back as well.
You know what I'd love to see? I would love to see the Rolex and the Benz and the gold chain and those both symbols that people use to show new wealth. I would love to see that replaced by, look how much money I gave to charity today. Look how much money I gave to charity yesterday. There's a guy on Instagram, I don't remember his name, and he goes around to places and people are, like supermarkets and fast food joints and hands people 10 grand in cash. I don't know if you've ever seen him.
No.
I'm like, this should be the new bossiness.
Changing people's lives, man. That is, I love it. The giving pledge is the one I love here in the US. That's
what you got money for, right?
Right. Yeah. Sign and you give it back. That's why I rate people like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates who have signed the giving pledge and intend to give away most of their money by the time they're dead. So that's what we're doing it for. No, man, I appreciate that. I love this, Steve. And I'm glad I get to share some of my personal relationships.
Yeah, I'm glad, man. And you know what is true? I love hearing back stories like that because I say those things and I just say it and I move on and I forget about it and it doesn't resonate with me because it didn't change how I felt. It changed how you felt, and that's also important, right? And I always feel like every interaction, and if I leave the audience with one thing, I'd say this: every interaction and every day, try to seek to leave it better than it was when you got there, right? And every simple interaction is that. I remember one day a man cut me off in traffic, right? And I was so pissed. And I drive. I went out of my way where I was going, right? And I drive down this man, and I finally get beside him at the traffic light, bro. And he has a car where window can't wind up, so window is down. And I wind down my window, and I see the man literally doing this, like bracing for what I'm gonna shout at him, right? Because the man did me dirty. And I wind down the window, and at the literal last millisecond, I shouted out, "God bless you!" And I shouted as if I was cursing the dirtiest bad word, bro. And the man was like, and then he was like, and then I saw his face change, and I said, wow, maybe that will impact him in a way that cursing him wouldn't. Because how much curse him get for the day? 1,000 curse.
And it never changed anything.
Don't change his mind. But somebody said to him, God bless him, say, whoa, okay, that guy actually took his time to drive me down and was obviously angry.
Yeah. But
and I said, let me change this. Let me change the narrative of this moment.
I love that, I love that, Steve. That really is a good reminder that all of us, especially now with this pandemic, are going through stuff that you don't know what they're going through. We're not talking about it. We're internalizing some stuff. So when you see somebody don't reply to that email in 2 days or don't read a WhatsApp message for 24 hours, don't assume is that they don't want to talk to you. Stuff could be happening in their life. So give them the benefit of the doubt first and lead with compassion is what I've been saying to people.
Yeah.
No, man.
I know, because I want to write this down, is that I always say that life is 20% what happens and 80% how you react to it.
Yep.
Right? So if you want to change the narrative of any situation, like when we talk about the impact of our culture, what we're doing, how we're going to mind our culture, how you want to impact your life, how you want to impact someone else's life, how you want to change your life, it's 20% what happens and 80% how you react, right? And you can choose to choose to live a proactive life or a reactive life. So you get up in the morning, do you let your day happen to you, or do you control your day and dictate how your day is going to run?
No, man.
And that will change your life.
This is great advice to close it with. We're going to wrap up now that we're coming up to that 60-minute mark. I see Kirk Tucker coming in from Facebook saying, good stuff, man. I know, Steve, we're going to have a bunch of people who watch this going to want to subscribe to your podcast when it come out. And
good.
We can talk. Okay, help. We have to help, man. But you made time. I know Sean was supposed to be going to studio, so you literally squeeze out some time to be on the show.
Yeah, I'm actually late. I'm officially late as of right now.
Well, tell Sean why on the stories, man. I'm big him up for us.
Bless up, bro. Bless up. Bless up, Clinton. Bless up, everybody, for listening. Thank you very much. This has been a long time coming. We were supposed to have done this, so if I do it again soon, I'm glad to come on for a part 2. Keisha, big up everybody who listening from all over the world, Australia, Virgin Islands. Philip, big up Philip.
London, everybody.
And Philip have some nuggets that he's been dropping on there too, so maybe we should need to have Philip on next.
yeah, man, I'm going to have to. So we're going to talk. I don't want it to be any later because I don't want Sean beat me up. So
blessings, everybody. Peace out.
Respect. Laser Steve. So guys, that was Steve Wilson from Mystic Urchin is what I would say, but Steve is the manager for Sean Paul, first guest that I brought on for season 2 of Island Forward. I appreciate all the time that you guys have given me and allowed us into your life today. I know that Steve left us with some really good words of wisdom, so we're going to end up grabbing some clips, posting them around. I really appreciate the time. If you like this, share it, send feedback. Get ready next week, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern again. Right here, you never know who I might have as a surprise guest again or what stories we're going to be sharing. But we're going into August 6th, so we want to say happy 58th Independence to Jamaica. Big up Jamaicans everywhere you are. We're proud. We're ton up. That's all I want to say. Jamaica to the world. So respect everybody. I am out. Later.